Jinwoo Park woke up at 5 in the morning like he did every day. His small apartment was quiet and dark. He moved carefully so he would not wake his daughter Soo-jin, who was sleeping in the next room. She had studied late again last night. Jinwoo could see the light under her door until past midnight. He made himself instant coffee and looked at the calendar on the kitchen wall. Today was the spring festival. The whole city would be celebrating. There would be a big parade downtown with music and dancers and colorful floats. Jinwoo remembered taking Soo-jin to see the parade when she was little. His wife had been alive then. They had been happy. Jinwoo shook his head. He could not think about the past now. He had work to do. He picked up his car keys and looked at the small dish by the door where he kept his money. He counted it quickly. Not enough. Never enough. The rent was due in 5 days. Soo-jin's university tuition payment was coming soon. His wife's old medical bills still needed to be paid. He walked down 4 flights of stairs to the street where his taxi was parked. The car was old and the paint was fading. There was a small dent on the passenger side that Jinwoo could not afford to fix. But the engine was good and the inside was clean. Jinwoo made sure his taxi was always clean. On the dashboard, there was a photograph in a cheap frame. It showed Jinwoo with his wife and Soo-jin when she was 13 years old. They were all smiling. His wife had died 3 years ago from cancer. The treatment had been expensive. They had sold everything they could sell. It had not been enough. Jinwoo started the car and began his morning route. The streets were empty at this hour. In a few hours, they would be packed with people going to see the parade. Jinwoo planned to work near the parade route. Festival days meant good business. People needed rides. People had money to spend. His first passenger was a businessman who did not speak. His second passenger was an old woman going to the market. She talked the whole time about her grandchildren. Jinwoo listened politely and smiled at the right moments. His third fare was a young couple arguing about something Jinwoo did not understand. By 8 o'clock, the streets were getting crowded. Jinwoo drove toward the expensive part of the city where the big hotels were. Rich tourists stayed there during the festival. They often needed taxis. They usually tipped well. His radio crackled. A dispatcher announced a pickup at the Grand Joseon Hotel. Jinwoo was close. He responded quickly and drove to the hotel entrance. A doorman in a fancy uniform opened the hotel door. A woman in her 50s came out. She was wearing a nice coat and carrying a large bag. Behind her, a hotel worker pushed a wheelchair. In the wheelchair sat a small boy. He looked about 8 years old. He had thin arms and legs and his head tilted to one side. But his eyes were bright and alert. He was smiling so big that Jinwoo could not help but smile back. The boy was holding a small flag with both hands. His hands shook a little, but he gripped the flag tightly like it was something precious. Jinwoo got out of the taxi quickly. He opened the back door wide. "Good morning," he said to the woman. "I am Jinwoo. Let me help you." The woman smiled, but she looked worried. "Thank you. I am Ms. Lee. This is Minho." Jinwoo looked at the boy. "Hello, Minho." "That is a nice flag you have." Minho's face lit up even more. He tried to speak, but the words came out slowly and unclear. In parade. Going to parade." "He is very excited," Ms. Lee explained. "He has wanted to see the parade for so long." Jinwoo helped Ms. Lee fold the wheelchair and put it in the trunk. Then he helped her get Minho settled in the back seat. The boy was light, so light that Jinwoo felt his heart squeeze. He made sure Minho was comfortable and safe before closing the door. "Where are we going?" Jinwoo asked as he got back in the driver's seat. "City Plaza, please," Ms. Lee said. Near the main parade route, Jinwoo started driving. In the rearview mirror, he could see Minho looking out the window. The boy's eyes moved from side to side, taking in everything. His flag waved a little in his shaking hands. "First time seeing the parade?" Jinwoo asked. Ms. Lee answered. "Yes. Minho has wanted to go for 2 years. His father finally said yes this year." "Where is his father?" Jinwoo asked. "Working today?" There was a pause. Ms. Lee's voice became quieter. "Minho's father had to fly to Tokyo this morning. A very important business meeting. He could not cancel it." Jinwoo looked in the mirror again. Minho's smile had gotten a little smaller. "But he promised," Minho said softly. His words were hard to understand, but Jinwoo listened carefully. "Daddy promised, take me." "I know, sweetheart," Ms. Lee said gently. "But your father's work is very important. He will take you next time." Minho nodded, but he looked down at his flag. Jinwoo felt that squeeze in his heart again. He knew that look. He had seen it on Soo-jin's face when he had to cancel plans because of work. It was the look of trying to be brave when you were really disappointed. "What does your father do?" Jinwoo asked, trying to make conversation. "He runs a company," Ms. Lee said. Then she added more quietly, "Kang Industries. He is the CEO." Jinwoo's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Kang Industries. Everyone in Seoul knew that name. It was one of the biggest technology companies in the country. That meant Minho's father was Dae-sung Kang, the billionaire, the man whose face was on magazine covers and news programs. Jinwoo looked at Minho again. A boy whose father had everything: money, power, success. But the boy was sitting in a taxi with his nanny because his father was too busy to keep a promise. The traffic was getting worse now. Cars filled every street. People crowded the sidewalks. Everyone was moving toward the parade route. Jinwoo drove carefully, taking side streets when he could. "Do you like parades, Mr. Jinwoo?" Minho asked suddenly. Jinwoo smiled. "I used to take my daughter to the parade when she was younger. She loved the music and the dancers." "You have daughter?" Minho asked. "Yes, her name is Soo-jin. She is 18 now. She goes to university." "She is lucky," Minho said. "Lucky to have daddy who takes her own places." The words hit Jinwoo like a punch. This little boy with everything money could buy thought Soo-jin was lucky. Lucky because she had a father who showed up. Jinwoo thought about all the times he had not shown up, all the school events he had missed, all the dinners he had eaten alone in his taxi while Soo-jin ate alone at home. Maybe Minho and Soo-jin were not so different after all. They were getting close to City Plaza now. Jinwoo could see the crowds ahead. There were thousands of people. The sidewalks were completely packed. Police had put up metal barriers along the parade route. Jinwoo parked as close as he could. He got out and took the wheelchair from the trunk. Ms. Lee helped Minho into the wheelchair while Jinwoo held it steady. "How much do we owe you?" Ms. Lee asked, opening her purse. Jinwoo looked at the meter and told her the amount. She paid him and added a generous tip. "Thank you for the ride," she said. Jinwoo watched as Ms. Lee started to push Minho toward the crowd. They got about 10 meters before they had to stop. There were too many people. The wheelchair could not fit through. Ms. Lee tried going a different way. Same problem. She tried another direction. Still no space. Jinwoo stood by his taxi watching. He should leave. He should turn on his meter and find another fare. This was the busiest day of the year. He could make good money today. Money he desperately needed, but he kept watching. He saw Ms. Lee lean down and talk to Minho. He saw the little boy's shoulders drop. He saw Ms. Lee start to turn the wheelchair around. Minho was leaving. He was not going to see the parade. He had waited 2 years. His father had promised and then broken that promise. And now Minho could not even get close enough to see anything. The boy still held his flag. Even though he was leaving, he had not let go of his flag. Jinwoo looked up at the sky. Dark clouds were forming. It was going to rain soon. Everyone said so. That would make everything worse. He looked at his taxi. He looked at the meter that was not running. He thought about the rent that was due, the tuition payment coming, the bills waiting at home. Then he looked at Minho being pushed away from the parade, still holding that flag. Jinwoo made a decision. His wife used to tell him that some moments demanded more than good sense. They demanded good hearts. She had been right about most things. He locked his taxi and jogged toward the wheelchair. "Ms. Lee, wait!" The woman stopped and turned around. She looked confused. Jinwoo reached them, slightly out of breath. He looked down at Minho. The boy's eyes were wet, but he was not crying. "Minho," Jinwoo said, "how would you like to see that parade?" The boy's whole face changed. "Really? But how?" Jinwoo smiled. He had not thought this through. He was probably crazy, but sometimes crazy was the only thing that made sense. "I will carry you," Jinwoo said simply, "on my back. I will carry you through the crowd to the front so you can see everything." Ms. Lee's eyes went wide. "Oh no, Mr. Park, we could not ask you to do that." "Minho is not heavy, but still, and it might rain, and you have work." "I want to do this," Jinwoo said. He looked at Minho. "If you trust me." Minho did not hesitate. His head bobbed up and down in a nod. "Yes, I trust you." Jinwoo felt something warm spread through his chest. When was the last time someone had trusted him so completely? So quickly. He walked back to his taxi and reached through the window. He switched off the meter completely. Turned off his radio. His dispatcher would be angry. His fares for the day would be much less than planned. But when Jinwoo walked back to Minho and saw that smile, that hope, that absolute joy, he knew he had made the right choice. Okay then, Jinwoo said, kneeling down in front of the wheelchair. Let us go see a parade. Ms. Lee looked very worried. She stood next to the wheelchair with her hands pressed together. Mr. Park, I really do not think this is a good idea. What if you get hurt? What if Minho gets hurt? What if it rains? You have already been so kind, but this is too much. Jinwoo understood her concerns. He was a stranger. She was responsible for Minho. If something went wrong, she would be blamed. Minho's father was a powerful man. Rich people sometimes sued poor people over small things. Ms. Lee, Jinwoo said calmly, I have a daughter. If she were in Minho's place, I would want someone to help her. I will be very careful. I promise. Minho reached out and touched Ms. Lee's hand. Please, he said. His voice was quiet but clear. Please, Ms. Lee, I want to see. The woman looked at the boy's face. Then she looked at Jinwoo's face. Whatever she saw there must have convinced her because she took a deep breath and nodded. Okay, she said, but I am coming with you. And if it gets too hard, we stop immediately. Agreed, Jinwoo said. He positioned himself in front of Minho's wheelchair and knelt down. Put your arms around my neck, Minho. Not too tight. Just hold on. Minho wrapped his thin arms around Jinwoo's neck. His hands were shaking, but his grip was determined. Jinwoo reached back and carefully lifted the boy. Minho was indeed very light. Too light for an 8-year-old. Jinwoo adjusted him gently, making sure he was secure but comfortable. How is that? Jinwoo asked. Good, Minho said. His voice was right next to Jinwoo's ear. I can see everything from up here. Ms. Lee folded the wheelchair. I will follow you with this, she said. Jinwoo started walking toward the crowd. With each step, he could feel Minho's excitement. The boy's head moved from side to side, looking at everything. He still clutched his small flag in one hand. The crowd was incredibly thick. People stood shoulder to shoulder. Jinwoo approached a group of teenagers. Excuse me, he said politely. Could we please pass through? The teenagers looked annoyed at first. Then they saw Minho on Jinwoo's back. They saw the wheelchair that Ms. Lee was pushing. Their expressions changed immediately. Oh, of course, one girl said. She tapped her friends. Move aside. Let them through. The teenagers created a small path. Jinwoo said thank you and moved forward. But after a few meters, the path closed again. More people blocked the way. This time it was a family with young children. Jinwoo explained the situation again. Again, people's faces softened when they saw Minho. Again, they moved to let them pass. This happened over and over. Each time, Jinwoo had to stop. Each time he had to ask. Each time, people made room when they understood. Some people smiled at Minho. Some patted Jinwoo's shoulder and said he was doing a good thing. It was slow progress. Jinwoo's back was already starting to ache. They had only moved about 30 meters. They needed to go at least 100 more meters to reach the barrier where they could actually see the parade. Are you okay, Mr. Jinwoo? Minho asked. I am fine, Jinwoo said. It was partly true. His back hurt, but his heart felt good. Are you okay? This is the best day of my life, Minho said simply. Those words gave Jinwoo new energy. He kept moving forward, kept asking people to make space, kept carrying this little boy who had been let down by the one person who should never let him down. They were about halfway to the barrier when Jinwoo felt the first drop of rain. Just one drop on his head, then another on his shoulder, then several more. Ms. Lee appeared next to him, still pushing the wheelchair. Mr. Park, it is starting to rain. We should turn back. More drops were falling now. People in the crowd started looking up at the sky. Some opened umbrellas. Some pulled out rain jackets. But nobody left. Everyone wanted to see the parade. Jinwoo felt Minho's arms tighten slightly around his neck. It is okay, the boy said quietly. We can go back. You did so much already. Jinwoo stopped walking. He stood still in the middle of the crowd while raindrops landed on his head and shoulders. He thought about giving up, going back to the taxi, staying dry, keeping his strength for work. Then he thought about his wife. She had been sick for 2 years before she died. There had been so many bad days. Days when she could not get out of bed. Days when the pain was too much. But there had been one day near the end when she felt a little better. She had asked Jin-woo to take her to the park. Just for an hour, Jin-woo had said no. He had said she was too weak, that it might make her worse, that they should wait for a better day. But there had not been a better day. She had died 3 weeks later. She had never gotten to go to that park one last time. Jin-woo had learned something from that mistake. Sometimes you cannot wait for a better day. Sometimes you only get one chance and you have to take it. Even if the conditions are not perfect, we are going forward, Jin-woo said firmly. But the rain, Ms. Lee started. Will not stop us, Jin-woo finished. Min-ho came here to see a parade. He is going to see a parade. The rain was falling steadily now. Not a heavy storm yet, but more than just a drizzle. Jin-woo's shirt was getting wet. He could feel Min-ho's light weight pressing against his back. The boy was getting wet too, but when Jin-woo looked around, he saw something interesting. Most of the crowd was moving away, looking for shelter. This meant there was more room to walk. The path ahead was clearer than before. Hold on tight, Min-ho, Jin-woo said. We are almost there. He started moving faster now. The rain was actually helping them. People stepped aside more quickly to get out of the rain. Jin-woo and Min-ho and Ms. Lee moved through the thinning crowd like a small boat through water. A middle-aged man with an umbrella stopped Jin-woo. Brother, you are getting soaked. Take my umbrella. Thank you, but my hands are full, Jin-woo said, indicating Min-ho on his back. The man understood. He walked alongside them for a minute, holding the umbrella over Min-ho to keep the boy dry. Then someone called him and he had to go. But Jin-woo was grateful for the kindness. An elderly woman saw them and called out, You are a good man. God bless you. Jin-woo did not feel like a good man. He just felt like a father who understood what it meant when a child's heart was broken by disappointment. They were close now. Jin-woo could see the metal barrier. Just 20 more meters, 15:10. His legs were shaking from the effort. His back was burning. His clothes were soaked through and heavy with water, but Min-ho was laughing. Actually laughing. The rain was falling on them and the boy was laughing with pure joy. I can see it, Min-ho shouted. Mr. Jin-woo, I can see the barrier. We are almost there. 5 more meters. 3, 2. They reached the barrier just as the rain got heavier. Jin-woo's chest was heaving from the effort. His whole body ached, but they had made it. Then a security guard stepped in front of them. He was wearing a yellow vest and holding a radio. He did not look happy. Sir, you cannot be here, the guard said firmly. This area is for official people only. You need to move back. Jin-woo's heart sank. They had come so far. They were so close. But the guard was right. This was the official barrier. Regular people were supposed to stay behind a second barrier that was further back. Ms. Lee rushed forward with the wheelchair. Please, sir. This child has a disability. He cannot see from the back. We just need a small space right here. The guard shook his head. I have rules to follow. Everyone wants to be in front. I cannot make exceptions, please, Jin-woo said. His voice came out rougher than he meant because he was so tired. We walked through that whole crowd. In the rain. This boy just wants to see the parade. His father was supposed to bring him, but could not. I am nobody special. I am just trying to help a child see something beautiful. The guard looked uncomfortable. He glanced at Min-ho, who was still on Jin-woo's back, soaking wet but smiling hopefully. The guard opened his mouth to say no again, but then other people who had been watching started speaking up. Let the kids stay, someone shouted. We saw them walk all the way here, another person said. That man carried the boy through the whole crowd. Have a heart, a woman called out. Look at them. They are soaked. More voices joined in. People Jin-woo did not know. People who had seen their journey. People who wanted to help. The security guard looked around. He looked at his radio. He looked at the growing crowd of supporters. Then he looked at Min-ho's face. The guard sighed deeply. Okay, he said. Okay, you can stay right here, but do not block anyone else's view. Jin-woo wanted to hug the man, but his arms were full of Min-ho. Thank you, he said instead. Thank you so much. The guard waved them through and then walked away, talking into his radio about something else. Jin-woo carefully positioned himself right against the barrier. From here, Min-ho would have a perfect view. Ms. Lee stood next to them with the wheelchair, ready in case Min-ho needed to sit down. How is this? Jin-woo asked Min-ho. Perfect, Min-ho said. He waved his flag. It is perfect. The rain was still falling. Jinwoo was completely soaked now. Water ran down his face and neck. His shirt stuck to his skin. His shoes were full of water. He could not remember the last time he had been this uncomfortable. But then he heard music in the distance. The parade was starting. "It is coming," Minho squealed. "The parade is coming!" Jinwoo felt the boy's excitement like electricity. He forgot about the rain. He forgot about his aching back and shaking legs. He forgot about the money he was not earning right now. The first group of performers appeared. They were dancers in bright costumes, spinning and jumping even in the rain. Their outfits were red and gold and green. Behind them came a group of drummers beating huge drums that made Jinwoo's chest vibrate. Minho was absolutely transfixed. His eyes were huge. His mouth hung open in wonder. He tried to clap but could only manage to wave his flag enthusiastically. "Look! Look at the dragons!" Minho shouted. Sure enough, a group of performers was carrying a huge dragon puppet. It twisted and turned as they moved it through the street. The dragon's head was as big as a car. Its body stretched back for 10 meters, held up by many people underneath. "It is so big," Minho said. "Very big," Jinwoo agreed, smiling. Next came a float covered in flowers. Dancers stood on it, throwing flower petals to the crowd. Minho reached out with his shaking hand, trying to catch petals. A few landed on his head and he giggled. Behind the flower float was a marching band. Men and women in matching uniforms played trumpets and saxophones and clarinets. The music was loud and joyful. Minho tried to move to the rhythm as much as he could. Jinwoo's legs were really shaking now. The muscles in his back felt like they were on fire. He had been standing in the same position, holding the same weight for many minutes. His body wanted to sit down, wanted to rest, but he did not move. He stayed absolutely still because Minho was having the time of his life. People around them were watching both the parade and Jinwoo. Ms. Lee had tears running down her face, mixing with the rain. Other spectators were taking photos not just of the parade, but of the taxi driver carrying a disabled boy in the rain. A woman next to them leaned over. "You are wonderful," she said to Jinwoo. "What you are doing is wonderful." Jinwoo did not know what to say to that. He was not trying to be wonderful. He was just trying to keep a little boy's heart from breaking. More floats went by, more dancers, more music. The parade seemed to go on forever. 40 minutes passed. Jinwoo's whole body was screaming for rest, but he did not put Minho down. Finally, the last float passed by. It was covered in lights that sparkled even in the gray rain. When it turned the corner and disappeared, the parade was officially over. The crowd began to break up. People opened umbrellas and started walking away. The excitement was over. Jinwoo carefully lowered himself to one knee. Ms. Lee rushed forward with the wheelchair. Together, they helped Minho from Jinwoo's back into the chair. The moment Minho's weight was gone, Jinwoo's legs almost gave out. He grabbed the barrier to steady himself. His muscles were cramping. His back felt like someone had beaten it with sticks. Ms. Lee grabbed his arm. "Mr. Park, are you okay?" "I am fine," Jinwoo lied. He tried to stand up straight and almost fell over. Another man nearby caught him. "Easy there, friend," the stranger said. "Sit down for a minute." Jinwoo wanted to argue, but his body had other ideas. He sat down heavily on the wet ground. Rain continued to fall on his head. He was shivering now, though he was not sure if it was from cold or exhaustion. Minho wheeled his chair closer. The boy's face was full of concern. "Mr. Jinwoo, are you hurt?" Jinwoo looked up at the boy. Minho was soaked just like him. The boy's hair was plastered to his head. His clothes were dripping. But his eyes were shining with happiness. His flag, though wet, was still clutched in his hand. Jinwoo smiled despite his pain. "I am not hurt. Just tired, but it was worth it." "Did you see everything?" "Everything," Minho said. His face broke into the biggest smile Jinwoo had seen yet. "I saw the dancers and the dragons and the flowers and the music. It was the most amazing thing I ever saw." "Good," Jinwoo said. "That is good." Ms. Lee helped Jinwoo stand up slowly. "Come on, let us get you both out of this rain. The hotel is close. You can dry off there and rest." Jinwoo shook his head. "I should get back to my taxi." "Your taxi can wait," Ms. Lee said firmly. "You can barely walk. You need to rest." "I insist." Jinwoo did not have the strength to argue. Together they started the slow journey back through the crowd. This time, Ms. Lee pushed Minho in the wheelchair. Jinwoo walked beside them, moving stiffly like an old man. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out with wet, shaking hands. 5 missed calls, all from his taxi company's dispatcher. He was supposed to be working. He was supposed to be making money. Instead, he had spent over an hour in the rain, carrying a child he did not know. He had earned nothing. In fact, he had probably lost money by missing so many fares on this busy day. But when Jinwoo looked at Minho smiling in that wheelchair, waving his flag at strangers who waved back, he could not bring himself to regret his choice. Some things, Jinwoo thought, are more important than money. His wife had taught him that. He had forgotten for a while. But Minho had reminded him. They walked slowly back through the emptying streets. Most people had left after the parade ended. The rain had chased away those who remained. Jinwoo's shoes made wet, squishing sounds with each step. His pants stuck to his legs. Every muscle in his body ached. Ms. Lee pushed Minho's wheelchair carefully, avoiding puddles. The boy was still smiling, still holding his flag even though it was completely soaked. He kept turning his head to look back at Jinwoo. "You are walking funny, Mr. Jinwoo," Minho said with concern in his voice. Jinwoo tried to walk more normally, but his body would not cooperate. "I am okay. Just a little sore." "Because you carried me," Minho said. It was not a question. The boy understood. "It was my choice," Jinwoo said. "And I would do it again." Minho's smile got even bigger. "You are my hero." Like the heroes in my books, Jinwoo did not feel like a hero. Heroes did not have unpaid bills and old taxis and backs that hurt from carrying small children. But he smiled at the boy anyway. "You are very welcome." They reached Jinwoo's taxi first. It was still parked where he had left it, with the meter off and the radio silent. Jinwoo knew he should get in and start working. The day was only half over. He could still make some money, but Ms. Lee was right. He could barely walk. How could he safely drive a taxi? "Please, Mr. Park," Ms. Lee said. "Come to the hotel. Dry your clothes. Rest for just a little while. Then you can go back to work." Jinwoo wanted to refuse. He did not belong in fancy hotels. He was just a taxi driver, a poor man with wet clothes and a tired body, but his legs were shaking so badly that he was afraid he might fall down. And Minho was looking at him with such hopeful eyes. "Okay," Jinwoo said finally, "just for a little while." They continued to the Grand Joseon Hotel. The doorman who had been there earlier looked shocked when he saw them. 3 people completely soaked, one in a wheelchair and one barely able to walk. "Ms. Lee?" the doorman said with concern. "What happened?" "We saw the parade," Ms. Lee said simply, as if that explained everything. The doorman opened the door quickly and they went inside. The hotel lobby was beautiful. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, expensive furniture. Everything was clean and perfect and dry. Jinwoo felt very out of place. His wet shoes left marks on the polished floor. Water dripped from his clothes. Other hotel guests stared at him as they walked past in their nice dry clothing. Ms. Lee led them to the elevator. They went up to the 10th floor. The hallway was quiet and carpeted. Ms. Lee stopped in front of room 1015 and used a key card to open the door. The room was not just a room. It was a suite. The living area was bigger than Jinwoo's entire apartment. There was a huge television, comfortable sofas, a dining table, and windows that looked out over the city. "This is where you were staying?" Jinwoo asked, shocked. "This is the Kang family suite," Ms. Lee explained. "Mr. Kang keeps it reserved all year. Please sit down. I will get towels." Jinwoo helped Minho out of the wheelchair and onto one of the sofas. The boy immediately started shivering. His lips were a little blue from the cold rain. Ms. Lee rushed back with armfuls of fluffy white towels. She wrapped one around Minho first, then handed several to Jinwoo. "The bathroom is there. You can take a hot shower if you like. I will make hot tea." Jinwoo wanted to protest, but he was so cold. "Thank you," he said quietly. He went into the bathroom and closed the door. The bathroom alone was bigger than his bedroom at home. There was a huge bathtub, a separate shower with glass walls, 2 sinks with gold faucets, and mirrors everywhere. Jinwoo looked at himself in the mirror. He looked terrible. His hair was plastered to his head. His face was pale except for red spots on his cheeks. His clothes clung to his thin body. He looked exactly like what he was. A poor, tired man who was too old to be carrying children through rainstorms. He turned on the shower. Hot water came out immediately, filling the bathroom with steam. Jinwoo stripped off his wet clothes and stepped under the water. It felt like heaven. The heat soaked into his cold muscles. He stood there for a long time, letting the water wash away the rain and the exhaustion. When he finally turned off the water, he felt more human. His muscles still hurt, but not as badly. He was no longer shivering, but then he realized a problem. His clothes were soaking wet. He could not put them back on. He wrapped a towel around his waist and opened the bathroom door slightly. "Ms. Lee?" he called out. She appeared immediately. "Yes, Mr. Park?" "I cannot wear my wet clothes," Jinwoo said, embarrassed. "I am sorry. I should not have accepted your invitation." Ms. Lee smiled kindly. "Wait just a moment." She disappeared and came back a minute later with clean, dry clothes. "These are Mr. Kang's," she said. "He keeps extra clothes here. They might be a little big, but they will be dry." Jinwoo hesitated. Wearing a billionaire's clothes felt wrong somehow, but he had no choice. He took the clothes and closed the door again. The shirt was indeed too big. The pants had to be rolled up at the bottom, but they were soft and expensive and completely dry. Jinwoo looked at the designer labels and shook his head. This one shirt probably cost more than he made in a week. When he came out of the bathroom, Ms. Lee had made tea. Minho was on the sofa, wrapped in a warm robe that was also too big for him. The boy was drinking hot chocolate instead of tea. He looked warm and happy. "Sit, please," Ms. Lee said, pointing to a chair. She handed Jinwoo a cup of tea. "Drink, it will help." Jinwoo sat down carefully. His back protested. He sipped the tea and felt warmth spread through his body. It was the best tea he had ever tasted. "Thank you," he said. "For everything." "No," Ms. Lee said firmly. "Thank you. What you did today was— I have no words for it. It was beautiful." Jinwoo felt his face get hot. "I just helped a boy see a parade." "You did much more than that," Ms. Lee said. She sat down across from him. "Do you know how many people walk past Minho every day without seeing him? They see the wheelchair. They see the disability. But they do not see the child. The beautiful, smart, loving child." Minho looked down at his hot chocolate, suddenly shy. "But you," Ms. Lee continued, "you saw him immediately. You talked to him like a person. You listened when he spoke, even though his words are hard to understand. And then you carried him through a crowd in the rain because you wanted him to be happy. You are a good man, Mr. Park." Jinwoo did not know what to say. He was not used to praise. He was used to people ignoring him, treating him like he was invisible because he was just a taxi driver. "I have a daughter," Jinwoo said finally. "I know what it feels like when someone disappoints your child. I did not want Minho to feel that way if I could help it." Ms. Lee studied him carefully. "You said your daughter goes to university?" "Yes, she is studying business. She is very smart. Much smarter than me." "You must be proud," Ms. Lee said. "Very proud," Jinwoo agreed. Then he added more quietly, "and very worried." "Worried?" Ms. Lee asked. Jinwoo had not meant to say that. But the words came out anyway, maybe because he was so tired. "University is expensive. I work hard, but it is never enough. She wants to quit school and get a job to help me, but I cannot let her do that. Her mother died so that Soojin could have a better life than we had. I will not let her sacrifice her future because I cannot earn enough money." There was silence for a moment. Jinwoo realized he had said too much. "These people did not need to hear about his problems. I am sorry," he said quickly. "I should not have said all that." "Do not apologize," Ms. Lee said gently. "You are a father doing your best for your child. That is something to be proud of, not sorry about." Minho had been quiet, drinking his hot chocolate. Now he spoke up. "Mr. Jinwoo is a good daddy. Like I wish I had." Ms. Lee and Jinwoo both looked at the boy. Minho was looking down at his cup, his voice sad. "Minho, your father loves you very much," Ms. Lee said. "I know," Minho said, "but he is never here. He is always working, always flying to other countries, always in meetings. He promises to do things with me and then he does not come. Like today, he promised to take me to the parade. He was so excited when he promised. But then he got a phone call and he said he had to go to Tokyo. He said he was sorry. He said he would take me next time. But there will not be a next time. The parade is only once a year. I will be older next year. Everything will be different." The boy's voice was breaking. He was trying not to cry. Jinwoo felt his heart break for this child. Minho had everything money could buy. This beautiful hotel suite. Expensive toys, probably. The best medical care. But he did not have the one thing he wanted most. His father's time. Your father does important work, Jinwoo said, trying to make the boy feel better. I know, Minho said. Everyone says that. His work is very important. More important than me, I think. No, Jinwoo said firmly. No child is less important than work. Your father probably thinks he is working hard for you. To give you a good life. But sometimes parents forget that children do not need expensive things. They need us, our time, our attention. Our love shown through presence, not just presents. Jinwoo thought about his own failures. All the times he had missed dinner with Soo-jin because he was working late. The school play he had missed because a fair was offering good money. He was not so different from Minho's father, really. Both of them were failing their children by choosing work over presents. Ms. Lee was crying now. She wiped her eyes with a tissue. You understand, she said. You really understand. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, drinking tea and hot chocolate. Outside the windows, the rain continued to fall. Jinwoo watched the water run down the glass. He thought about his taxi sitting on the street. He thought about the fares he was missing. He thought about the bills waiting at home. His phone buzzed again. He pulled it out and saw messages from his dispatcher. Angry messages asking where he was, why he was not responding, threatening to fine him for abandoning his shift on such a busy day. Jinwoo sighed. I should go, he said, standing up slowly. His back still hurt, but he could walk now. Thank you again for everything. For the shower, the clothes, the tea. Keep the clothes, Ms. Lee said. Your wet clothes are in the bathroom. I will have them cleaned and returned to you. Oh, I cannot, Jinwoo started. Please, Ms. Lee said. After what you did for us, it is nothing. Besides, those clothes fit you better than they fit Mr. Kang anyway. He has gained weight recently. She smiled a little. Jinwoo did not want to accept, but he also did not want to put on wet clothes. Okay, thank you. How should I return them? Do not worry about that, Ms. Lee said. She pulled out a business card and a pen. She wrote something on the back of the card and handed it to Jinwoo. This is my phone number. Call me when you get home so I know you arrived safely, and I will arrange to return your cleaned clothes. Jinwoo took the card and put it in his pocket. Then he knelt down in front of Minho. It was very nice to meet you, he said. Thank you for trusting me today. Minho threw his arms around Jinwoo's neck in a tight hug. Thank you for the best day ever, the boy whispered. I will remember this forever. Jinwoo hugged the small body carefully. Me too, he whispered back. As he stood up, Ms. Lee handed him a white envelope. For your taxi fare and your time today, she said. Jinwoo started to refuse, but Ms. Lee held up her hand. Please, for your daughter's university. You gave us something precious today. Let us give you something in return. Jinwoo looked at the envelope. He thought about refusing on principle, but he thought about Soo-jin's tuition, about the bills, about the practical realities of being poor. Thank you, he said quietly, taking the envelope. Ms. Lee walked him to the door. As he was leaving, she said, Mr. Park, you're wrong about one thing. What is that? Jinwoo asked. You said you are not a hero, Ms. Lee said. But you are, to Minho, and maybe to more people than you know. Jinwoo did not know what to say to that, so he just smiled and left. In the elevator going down, he opened the envelope. Inside were several bills. Much more money than his taxi fare should have cost. More than he had expected. He counted it quickly and his eyes went wide. This was enough to pay his rent. Enough to make a good payment toward Soo-jin's tuition. Jinwoo leaned against the elevator wall and closed his eyes. He thought about Minho's joy at seeing the parade. He thought about the boy's hug. He thought about Ms. Lee calling him a hero. The elevator doors opened. Jinwoo walked through the beautiful lobby and out into the rain, which had slowed to a gentle drizzle now. He walked to his taxi and got in. His radio was still off. His meter was still not running. He had been gone for hours. But somehow Jinwoo felt like he had gained more than he had lost today. He just did not know exactly what yet. He turned on the radio. His dispatcher's voice came through immediately, angry and loud. Jinwoo let the man yell for a moment. Then he explained he had a family emergency and apologized. The dispatcher grumbled but accepted it. Jinwoo turned his meter back on and started driving. It was time to get back to work. But as he drove through the wet streets, he kept thinking about Minho's smile, about the boy's arms around his neck, about the look of pure happiness on that small face, and Jinwoo smiled too. Jinwoo arrived home after midnight. His body felt like it had been hit by a truck. Every muscle ached. His back was especially bad, but he had worked the rest of the day and made decent money. Not as much as he would have made if he had worked the whole day, but with Ms. Lee's generous payment, he would be okay for a little while. He climbed the 4 flights of stairs to his apartment slowly. His legs did not want to cooperate. When he finally reached his door, he found it unlocked. That meant Soo-jin was still awake, waiting for him. He opened the door and found his daughter sitting at their small kitchen table. Books and papers were spread out in front of her. She looked up when he came in. "Dad," she said, standing up quickly. "I was so worried." "You are so late." "I am sorry," Jinwoo said, setting down his keys. It was a busy day. Soo-jin walked over to him and stopped suddenly. "Dad, whose clothes are you wearing?" Jinwoo had forgotten about the borrowed clothes. "It is a long story. I will tell you tomorrow. Right now I need to sleep." But Soo-jin was looking at him with concern. "You look terrible. Are you sick? Are you hurt?" "Just tired," Jinwoo said. He took the envelope of money from his pocket and handed it to her. "This is for your tuition." Soo-jin opened the envelope and her eyes went wide. "Dad, this is too much." "Where did you get all this money?" "What did you do?" "I helped someone today," Jinwoo said simply. They were grateful. Soo-jin looked worried. "Dad, you did not do something illegal, did you?" Jinwoo laughed despite his exhaustion. "No, nothing illegal. I promise. I carried a little boy through a crowd so he could see the parade. His nanny gave me that money as a thank you." "You carried a boy through a crowd?" Soo-jin repeated. "Dad, you are 42 years old. You could have hurt yourself." "But I did not," Jinwoo said. He walked to the kitchen and filled a glass with water. His throat was very dry. The boy needed help. "I helped him. That is all." Soo-jin was still looking at the money. "This is enough to pay the tuition deadline," she said quietly. "But Dad, there will be another payment due in 3 months. And then another after that. We cannot keep doing this. It is too hard for you." Jinwoo had heard this argument before. "We will figure it out," he said. "We always do." "I could take this semester off," Soo-jin said. It was not the first time she had suggested it. "I could work full-time, save money, go back to school later." "No," Jinwoo said firmly. "Your mother made me promise that you would finish your education. I will not break that promise. Mom would not want you to kill yourself working 2 shifts every day," Soo-jin said. Her voice was getting emotional. "She would not want you carrying people through rainstorms at your age." Jinwoo set down his water glass and walked over to his daughter. He put his hands on her shoulders. "Listen to me. You are going to finish university. You are going to graduate. You are going to have the life your mother and I dreamed about for you. That is not negotiable." Soo-jin's eyes filled with tears. "But what about your dreams? What about your life?" "My dream is watching you succeed," Jinwoo said. "That is enough for me." Soo-jin hugged him tightly. Jinwoo held her even though his arms hurt. She was not a little girl anymore. She was a young woman, smart and strong and kind. He was so proud of her. After a moment, Soo-jin stepped back and wiped her eyes. "Tell me about this boy you helped," she said. "What was he like?" Jinwoo smiled, thinking about Minho. "His name is Minho. He is 8 years old. He has cerebral palsy, so he uses a wheelchair. But he has the brightest smile I have ever seen. He wanted to see the parade so badly. His father was supposed to take him, but could not. So I carried him on my back through the crowd." "For how long?" Soo-jin asked. "About 40 minutes, Jinwoo admitted. Soo-jin's mouth dropped open. 40 minutes, Dad?" I know. But you should have seen his face, Soo-jin. He was so happy. It was worth every second of pain." Soo-jin shook her head, but she was smiling now. "You are crazy, but I love you." "I love you too," Jinwoo said. "Now please go to sleep. You have class tomorrow." "So do you," Soo-jin pointed out. "You have to work." Jinwoo did not want to think about work. His body needed rest desperately, but he would wake up in a few hours and do it all over again, because that was what fathers did. He went to his small bedroom and lay down on his bed without even changing clothes. He was asleep within seconds. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, Dae-sung Kang could not sleep. He was sitting in his penthouse hotel room. The meeting had gone well. He had closed a deal worth millions of dollars. His company would expand into new markets. His investors were happy, but Dae-sung felt empty. He kept thinking about his phone call home earlier that evening. He had called to talk to Min-ho, expecting the boy to be upset that Dae-sung had missed the parade. He had prepared himself to hear disappointment in his son's voice. He had planned to promise to make it up to him like he always did, but Min-ho had not been upset. He had been excited. He had talked so fast that Dae-sung could barely understand him. Something about a taxi driver in rain and seeing the parade from the front. Min-ho had called someone named Mr. Jin-woo a hero. Dae-sung had asked to speak to Ms. Lee. The nanny had explained the whole story. How Jin-woo had carried Min-ho through the crowd. How he had stood in the rain for 40 minutes so Min-ho could see the parade. How he had refused to give up even when it was hard. Ms. Lee had sent photos. Dae-sung was looking at them now on his phone. There was his son on a stranger's back, both of them soaking wet, both of them smiling. There was Min-ho's face lit up with pure joy. There was a photo of the taxi driver after the parade, looking exhausted but happy. Dae-sung studied the man's face in the photo. Jin-woo Park was not young. Not old either, but not young. He had thin face with tired eyes. His clothes were cheap. Everything about him said ordinary man and hard life. But this ordinary man had done something extraordinary for Dae-sung's son. Something Dae-sung himself should have done but did not. Dae-sung felt something he rarely felt. Shame. He was one of the richest men in South Korea. He had built an empire. He employed thousands of people. He donated millions to charity. Magazines called him brilliant. Other businessmen asked for his advice. But he could not keep a simple promise to his own son. How many promises had he broken? Dae-sung tried to count but gave up. Too many. Birthdays missed because of business trips. School events skipped because of meetings. Weekends canceled because of deals that needed closing. Always with good intentions. Always promising to make it up later. Always telling himself he was working hard for Min-ho's future. But what kind of future was he creating? One where Min-ho grew up with a father who was never there? One where the boy learned that work was more important than relationships? That money mattered more than presence? Dae-sung thought about his own father. The man had been poor, a factory worker. But he had always been there for Dae-sung. He had coached Dae-sung's soccer team. He had helped with homework. He had been there for every important moment. Dae-sung had promised himself he would be different. He would be rich so his children would never struggle like he had struggled. He would work hard so they could have everything. But somewhere along the way, he had forgotten that everything included a father who showed up. He looked at the photos again. At Min-ho's happy face. The boy had the same expression in all the photos. Pure, uncomplicated joy. When was the last time Dae-sung had seen his son that happy? He could not remember. Dae-sung opened his laptop and searched for Jin-woo Park. It was not hard to find information. Jin-woo worked for Seoul City Taxi Company. He had been driving for 8 years. Before that, he had worked in construction. His wife had died 3 years ago from cancer. He had one daughter, 18 years old, currently enrolled at Seoul National University. Dae-sung found the daughter's scholarship applications in the university's public records. Soo-jin Park. She was studying business with high grades. Her essay talked about her mother's death and her dream of opening her own company someday to help other families dealing with medical debt. It was a good essay. Honest and touching. But what struck Dae-sung was the financial information. Jin-woo's income was listed. It was less than what Dae-sung spent on coffee in a month. How did they live on that? How did Jin-woo pay for his daughter's university on a taxi driver's salary? Dae-sung did more research. He found records of unpaid medical bills. A small apartment in an old building. No car registered to Jin-woo except the taxi, which belonged to the company. This man had nothing. No money, no security, no comfort. But he had spent hours in the rain carrying a stranger's son because the boy wanted to see a parade. Dae-sung closed his laptop and walked to the window. Tokyo spread out below him. Millions of lights in the darkness. He had stayed in this hotel before. It cost thousands of dollars per night. He barely noticed the cost anymore, but Jin-woo probably lived on what this room cost for one night. Dae-sung made a decision. He picked up his phone and called his assistant. "Sir?" His assistant answered, sounding sleepy. It was past 1 in the morning. I need you to book me on the first flight back to Seoul tomorrow, Dae-sung said. But sir, you have meetings scheduled here for 3 more days, his assistant protested. Cancel them, Dae-sung said. Or reschedule them. I do not care. I need to go home. Is something wrong? Is Minho okay? Minho is fine, Dae-sung said. Better than fine, actually. But I need to go home, now. His assistant knew better than to argue. I will make the arrangements. And I need you to find out everything you can about a man named Jin-woo Park. He is a taxi driver. He helped Minho today. I want his address, his phone number, his work schedule, everything. Of course, sir. May I ask why? Because I need to meet him, Dae-sung said. And I need to thank him. After he hung up, Dae-sung sat in the darkness, looking at the photos of his son one more time. Jin-woo Park had given Minho something Dae-sung had failed to give him. Attention, time, presence, and most importantly, follow through on a promise. Dae-sung felt tears on his face. He was crying. He could not remember the last time he had cried. Maybe at his own father's funeral years ago. He was crying because he had almost lost something precious without even realizing it. His son's childhood. His son's trust. His son's belief that his father cared. One day, Minho would be grown. And Dae-sung would look back at these years and realize he had missed all of it. Missed it because he was too busy making money. Too busy building an empire. Too busy being important. But Jin-woo, with his old taxi and his borrowed clothes and his tired eyes, had not been too busy. He had made time for a child who was not even his own son. Dae-sung looked at the city lights and made a promise to himself. A real promise, one he would keep. He would do better. He would be better. For Minho, starting tomorrow. At dawn, Jin-woo's phone rang. He woke up confused, his body still aching from yesterday. He grabbed his phone and saw an unknown number. Hello? He answered, his voice rough from sleep. Mr. Park, this is Lee Hyun-woo, assistant to Mr. Dae-sung Kang. Mr. Kang would like to meet with you today to thank you personally for helping his son. Would you be available this afternoon? Jin-woo sat up in bed, suddenly wide awake. Meet with him? Why? Mr. Kang was very moved by what you did for Minho. He would like to express his gratitude in person. Would 2 o'clock work for you? Jin-woo thought about his work schedule. He would lose money if he took the afternoon off. But something in the assistant's voice told him this was not really a request. Where? Jin-woo asked. Kang Industries headquarters. The executive floor. I will send you the address. After Jin-woo agreed and hung up, he sat on his bed, confused and a little worried. Why did Minho's father want to meet him? Was there a problem? Had Jin-woo done something wrong? Maybe carrying the boy had been a mistake. Maybe the father was angry. Jin-woo's mind raced with possibilities, none of them good. He had a few hours before the meeting. He would work this morning, then go to the meeting, then work again in the evening if he could. But as he got ready for the day, Jin-woo could not shake the feeling that his life was about to change in ways he could not predict. Jin-woo borrowed a nice shirt from his neighbor. His own good shirt was still at the hotel being cleaned. The borrowed shirt was a little tight across the shoulders, but it was better than his work clothes. He wanted to look respectable when meeting Minho's father. At 1:30, he took the subway to the business district. He could not afford to take his taxi, because parking would be expensive. Besides, he was too nervous to drive. Kang Industries Tower was impossible to miss. It was 50 stories tall, all glass and steel, reflecting the afternoon sun. Jin-woo stood on the sidewalk looking up at it, feeling very small. Rich people walked past him in expensive suits. They all looked confident and important. Jin-woo looked down at his borrowed shirt and cheap shoes. He did not belong here, but he had agreed to come. So he took a deep breath and walked through the rotating front door. The lobby was huge and cold. Everything was marble and metal. His footsteps echoed as he walked to the security desk. A young woman in a perfect uniform looked at him with barely hidden suspicion. "Can I help you?" she asked. Her tone suggested she thought he was lost. "I have an appointment," Jin-woo said. "With Mr. Kang at 2 o'clock. The woman's eyebrows went up. She looked at her computer screen. "Your name?" "Park Jin-woo." She typed something, then her expression changed completely. "Oh yes, Mr. Park, you are expected. Please take that elevator to the 47th floor. Someone will meet you there." Jin-woo walked to the elevator she pointed to. It was different from the other elevators. This one required a key card to operate. As Jin-woo stood there wondering what to do, A security guard came over and scanned his card. Executive elevator, the guard explained. Go straight to the top floors. The elevator was nicer than Jinwoo's entire apartment. Soft music played. The walls were paneled in dark wood. There was even a small bench to sit on. Jinwoo stood and watched the floor numbers climb. 10th floor, 20th, 30th, his ears popped from the change in pressure. 47th floor. The doors opened. A young man in an expensive suit was waiting. Mr. Park? I am Lee Hyunwoo, Mr. Kang's assistant. Thank you for coming. Please follow me. Jinwoo followed the assistant down a hallway. The carpet was so thick his feet sank into it. Original paintings hung on the walls. Not prints. Original paintings that probably cost more than Jinwoo would earn in his entire life. They stopped in front of a large door. The assistant knocked once, then opened it. Mr. Park is here, sir, he announced. Send him in, a voice said from inside. Jinwoo entered the room. The assistant closed the door behind him, leaving Jinwoo alone with Dae-sung Kang. The office was enormous. One entire wall was windows showing a view of the whole city. Jinwoo could see his own neighborhood from here, small and far away. The furniture was modern and expensive. Everything was neat and organized. Behind a huge desk sat a man in his 40s. He was wearing a suit that probably cost more than Jinwoo's monthly rent. His hair was perfectly styled. His watch caught the light, gold and expensive. This was Dae-sung Kang, the billionaire, Minho's father, but the man's eyes were red. He looked like he had not slept well. Dae-sung stood up and walked around his desk. Mr. Park, thank you for coming. He extended his hand. Jinwoo shook it. The man's grip was firm, but his hand was soft, not the hands of someone who did physical work. Please sit, Dae-sung said, gesturing to a chair in front of his desk. Jinwoo sat carefully. The chair was incredibly comfortable, but he could not relax. He was too nervous. Dae-sung sat down across from him. For a long moment, he just looked at Jinwoo. Then he said, I saw the photos. Jinwoo nodded but said nothing. My son, Dae-sung continued, has never looked that happy. Not in any photo I have ever seen. Not on Christmas morning. Not on his birthday. Not ever. Jinwoo still did not know what to say. I was in Tokyo, Dae-sung said. His voice was getting rough with emotion. Closing a deal. Making money. Being important. And you were here, carrying my son through rain so he could see a parade. Something I promised to do but did not. Sir, Jinwoo started, but Dae-sung held up his hand. Let me finish, he said. I called home yesterday expecting Minho to be upset with me. I had broken another promise. But he was not upset. He was excited. He told me about you. About how you carried him. How you did not give up even in the rain. He called you his hero. Dae-sung's voice broke on the last word. He took a moment to compose himself. My son has everything money can buy, he continued. The best medical care. The best education. The best toys. The best everything. But he needed something I could not give him. And a stranger, a taxi driver I had never met, gave it to him instead. Jinwoo felt uncomfortable with the emotion in the room. Mr. Kang, I just helped a boy see a parade. Any decent person would have done the same. No, Dae-sung said firmly. They would not have. Do you know how many people walked past my son yesterday? Hundreds, maybe thousands. But you were the only one who stopped. The only one who helped. Why? Jinwoo thought about the question. I have a daughter, he said finally. I know what it feels like when someone disappoints your child. I did not want Minho to feel that way. Even though he is a stranger? Especially because he is a stranger, Jinwoo said. Minho has people who are supposed to take care of him. People who are paid to care for him. But yesterday he needed someone who chose to care about him. Not because they had to. Not because they were paid. But because they wanted to. Dae-sung stood up suddenly and walked to the window. He stood with his back to Jinwoo, looking out at the city. I am a terrible father, he said quietly. Jinwoo did not know what to say to that. It felt too personal, too private. I have missed so many moments, Dae-sung continued. So many promises broken. So many nights working late while my son ate dinner alone. So many business trips while he waited for me to come home. I told myself I was working for him. To give him a better life. To secure his future. But I was lying. I was working for myself. For my ego. For my need to be important and successful. He turned around. His face was wet with tears. Jinwoo had never seen a billionaire cry before. It was shocking and somehow made Dae-sung seem more human. "You spent 40 minutes in the rain with my son," Dae-sung said. "I have not spent 40 uninterrupted minutes with him in months. Maybe longer. What does that say about me as a father?" Jinwoo chose his words carefully. "It says you are busy. It says you are working hard. But it also says you might need to think about what is most important." "I know what is most important," Dae-sung said. "I just have not been acting like it. But I want to change that. And I want to start by thanking you properly for what you did." He walked back to his desk and pulled out his checkbook. "Please let me compensate you for your time and your kindness. Name any amount." Jinwoo's first instinct was to refuse, but then he thought about Sujin's tuition, about the bills, about all the practical problems that money could solve. Dae-sung wrote a number on the check. He tore it out and held it across the desk to Jinwoo. Jinwoo took it and looked at the amount. His breath caught in his throat. It was more money than he made in a year, more money than he had ever seen at one time. This check would solve all his problems. Tuition paid, bills paid, maybe even enough left over to save. But as Jinwoo stared at the numbers, he felt something twist in his stomach. This felt wrong. He looked up at Dae-sung's face. The man was waiting for Jinwoo to thank him. Jinwoo carefully put the check down on the desk and pushed it back toward Dae-sung. "I cannot accept this," he said. Dae-sung looked shocked. "What, why not?" "Because yesterday was not about money," Jinwoo said. "What Minho and I shared was not a business transaction. It was a moment of human connection. If I take your money, that is what it becomes. A service purchased. A debt repaid. But it was more than that, at least to me." Dae-sung sat down slowly. He looked at the check, then at Jinwoo. "I do not understand. You are clearly struggling financially. This money could change your life. Why would you refuse it?" "Because some things should not be for sale," Jinwoo said. "Yesterday I carried your son because I wanted to make him happy. Because I saw a child who needed help and I chose to help him. If I take money for that, it changes the meaning. It makes it about payment instead of caring. And I do not want to change what that moment meant." The room was silent. Dae-sung was staring at Jinwoo like he was seeing something he had never seen before. "My entire life," Dae-sung said slowly, "people have wanted something from me. Money, jobs, connections, opportunities, everyone wants something. My entire life is transactions. Everyone I meet is calculating what they can get from me." He stood up and walked around the desk again. He was pacing now, "But you," he continued, "you do not want anything. I just offered you enough money to change your life and you said no. Why? What do you want from me?" "Nothing," Jinwoo said honestly. "I do not want anything from you. Everyone wants something." "Not from you," Jinwoo said. "Maybe from life. Maybe from the universe. But not from you specifically." Dae-sung stopped pacing. He stood still, looking at Jinwoo with an expression that was hard to read. Then suddenly his face crumpled. He put his hands over his face and his shoulders shook. He was crying. Actually crying. Deep, painful sobs. Jinwoo did not know what to do. He sat frozen in his chair, watching this powerful man break down completely. "I am sorry," Dae-sung gasped out between sobs. "I am so sorry. No one has ever, everyone always wants." He could not finish his sentences. The tears were too strong. Jinwoo stood up and walked over to where Dae-sung was standing. He put a hand on the man's shoulder. He did not say anything. Sometimes silence was better than words. After a few minutes, Dae-sung calmed down. He wiped his face with his hands. "I apologize," he said. "That was unprofessional. You are a human before you are a professional," Jinwoo said gently. "Humans cry sometimes." Dae-sung laughed, a wet, broken sound. "My business partners would be shocked to see me like this." "Then maybe you need better business partners," Jinwoo said. They stood there for a moment. Then Dae-sung said, "Can I ask you something?" "Of course. How do you do it? How do you balance being a good father with providing for your child? You clearly struggle financially. But your daughter is in university. She is succeeding. How?" Jinwoo thought about the question. "I do not always balance it well," he admitted. "I miss things sometimes because I am working. But I learned something when my wife died. She was sick for 2 years. I worked so hard to pay for her treatment. I missed so much time with her because I was always working, always trying to earn more money for doctors and medicine. And then she died anyway, and I realized I had traded time with her for money that did not save her. I will always regret that. Dae-sung was listening intently. So now with my daughter I try to remember that time is the only thing I cannot get back. Jin-woo continued. Money comes and goes. Jobs come and go. But the years when Soo-jin still lives with me, still wants to spend time with me, those are limited. Soon she will graduate and move away and start her own life. And I will look back at these years. I want to look back with good memories, not regrets about time I could have spent with her, but chose to spend working instead. But you still work very hard, Dae-sung pointed out. Long hours. Difficult work? Yes, Jin-woo agreed. Because she needs food and shelter and education. These are not optional, but I try to be present when I am with her. When I am home, I am fully home. I do not think about work. I do not let other things distract me. I give her my full attention. Even if it is only for an hour before bed, that hour is completely hers. Dae-sung nodded slowly. I cannot remember the last time I gave Min-ho my full attention for an hour. Then start today, Jin-woo said. Right now, go home. Spend the rest of the day with your son. Not checking your phone. Not thinking about work. Just being with him. I cannot, Dae-sung said automatically. I have meetings, calls, responsibilities. You are the boss, Jin-woo said. You can do whatever you want. The question is, what do you want more? To be a successful businessman? Or to be a good father? Both, Dae-sung said. Maybe, Jin-woo said. But which one do you want more? Because the answer to that question will determine how you spend your time, and how you spend your time determines what kind of father you are. Dae-sung was quiet for a long moment. Then he walked back to his desk and pressed a button on his phone. Yes, sir? His assistant's voice came through. Cancel everything for today, Dae-sung said. All meetings. All calls, everything, sir. But you have the board meeting at 4, and the conference call with Tokyo at 5, and... Cancel it all, Dae-sung repeated. Tell them I have a family emergency. Is everything okay with Min-ho? The assistant asked with concern. Dae-sung looked at Jin-woo and smiled slightly. Not yet, but it will be. I'm going to make sure of that. He hung up and looked at Jin-woo. I do not know if I can be the father Min-ho deserves, but I want to try. Will you help me? Help you how? Jin-woo asked. I have an idea. But first let me ask you something. What do you want, Mr. Park? Not from me, but from life. What do you want? Jin-woo thought about it. I want my daughter to graduate university. I want her to have opportunities I never had. I want to be there for the important moments in her life. I want to stop being so tired all the time. I want to not worry about money every single day. That is what I want. What if I could offer you a job? Dae-sung asked. Jin-woo's eyes narrowed. What kind of job? Be my family's driver. Regular hours. Good salary, benefits, your daughter's education fully covered. I already have a job, Jin-woo said, driving strangers around for 12 hours a day, missing time with your daughter. Worrying about bills? Dae-sung shook his head. This would be better. Regular hours. He would drive Min-ho to his therapy appointments, to school sometimes, my wife to her meetings, me to some events. But not all the time. Normal hours. You would have evenings and weekends mostly free. Jin-woo wanted to say yes immediately. The offer was too good. But something made him hesitate. Why? He asked. Why would you offer me this? Because my son trusts you, Dae-sung said simply. Because you are a good man. And because, he paused, because I need someone around me who will tell me the truth. Everyone in my life lies to me or tells me what I want to hear. But you pushed that check back at me. You said no to more money than most people see in a lifetime. That tells me you have principles. That you have values that money cannot buy. I need that. My family needs that. Jin-woo thought about it. A regular job with regular hours. No more 12-hour shifts. No more worrying about Soo-jin's tuition. His daughter could focus on her studies instead of worrying about money. But he thought about something else too. About independence. About dignity. About not being owned by anyone. I will accept on one condition, Jin-woo said. Name it. You have to be a father to Min-ho. Really be there for him, not just pay people to take care of him. You have to show up. Keep your promises. Spend time with him. If you hire me to drive your family but you are never around to be with your family, then I will quit. This job is only worth it if you do your job as a father. Dae-sung looked surprised. Then he smiled. It was the first real smile Jin-woo had seen from him. Deal, Dae-sung said, extending his hand. They shook on it. and Jinwoo felt like his life had just changed in a way he could not fully understand yet. 3 months had passed since that rainy day at the parade. Jinwoo's life had changed in ways he never imagined possible. He woke up each morning in his same small apartment, but everything felt different now. He no longer woke up at 5 in the morning with anxiety about money. He no longer worried about whether he could pay rent or afford Soo-jin's tuition. Those worries had disappeared. Working for the Kang family was strange at first. Jinwoo had his own uniform now, a nice black suit with a white shirt. He drove a luxury car that was newer and more expensive than any vehicle he had ever touched before. The first week he was terrified he would scratch it or damage it somehow. But more than the job itself, what changed was the relationships. Minho had been thrilled when he learned Jinwoo would be working for his family. The boy treated Jinwoo like a beloved uncle. Every morning when Jinwoo arrived at the Kang mansion, Minho would wheel himself to the door to greet him. "Mr. Jinwoo," the boy would call out, his face lighting up. Jinwoo would kneel down and they would talk for a few minutes before starting their day. Sometimes Jinwoo drove Minho to his physical therapy appointments, sometimes to special schools for children with disabilities, sometimes just to the park because Minho wanted to see the trees. During these drives, they talked about everything. Minho told Jinwoo about his dreams of becoming a teacher someday. Jinwoo told Minho stories about his wife and about Soo-jin growing up. They became real friends despite the difference in their ages and backgrounds. But the biggest change was in Dae-sung. The man had kept his promise. He had changed his entire life around. He still worked, of course. He still ran his company. But he was no longer married to his work. Now Dae-sung came home for dinner every night unless it was absolutely impossible. He attended Minho's therapy sessions. He took the boy to school twice a week personally. He read to Minho before bed. He kept his promises. At first it was awkward. Dae-sung did not know how to be present with his son. He would sit with Minho but check his phone constantly. He would read stories but think about work. Old habits were hard to break, but Jinwoo saw him trying. Really trying. And slowly, Dae-sung got better at it. One day, about 6 weeks after Jinwoo started working for the family, something happened that showed Jinwoo how much had changed. It was a Thursday afternoon. Jinwoo was driving Dae-sung to an important board meeting. They were running a few minutes late because Dae-sung had stayed longer at Minho's physical therapy session than planned. Dae-sung's phone kept ringing. His assistant kept calling. The board members were waiting. But Dae-sung had stayed because Minho was trying to take 3 steps with his walker. The boy had never walked 3 steps before. He usually managed 1, maybe 2. Dae-sung had stayed to watch, to encourage, to be there when his son succeeded and Minho had done it. 3 shaky, difficult, beautiful steps. The look on Dae-sung's face when it happened was something Jinwoo would never forget. Pure joy, pure pride, pure love. In the car afterward, Dae-sung was quiet. Then he said, "Jinwoo, can I ask you something?" They had dropped the formal Mr. Park and Mr. Kang after the first month. Dae-sung had insisted they use first names when it was just the 2 of them. "Of course," Jinwoo said. "What did I almost miss?" Dae-sung asked quietly. "If you had not carried Minho that day, if I had kept living the way I was living, what would I have missed?" Jinwoo thought about it carefully. "Everything," he said finally. "You would have missed everything that matters. The small moments, the daily joys. The way his face lights up when he sees you, the way he tries harder at therapy when you are watching, the way he talks about you with pride instead of sadness. You would have had a son, but you would not have had a relationship with your son. There is a difference." Dae-sung nodded slowly. "I was so focused on building something for him. An empire, a legacy, security. I thought that was what a father was supposed to do." "It is part of it," Jinwoo said, "but only part. My wife used to say that children spell love T-I-M-E. Time, that is what they need most." "Your wife was a wise woman," Dae-sung said. "She was," Jinwoo agreed. "I wish I had listened to her better when she was alive." They arrived at the office building. Before getting out, Dae-sung turned to Jinwoo. "Thank you, not just for driving me, but for helping me see what matters." Jinwoo just nodded. Some things did not need words. The changes were not just in the Kang family. Jinwoo's own life had improved too. Soo-jin was thriving at university. With her tuition covered, she could focus completely on her studies. Her grades improved. She joined clubs and made friends. She was not working 2 part-time jobs anymore. She was actually enjoying her education. But more than that, Jinwoo had time with her now. Real time. He worked regular hours, so he was home for dinner most nights. They talked. Really talked. About her classes, her dreams, her fears, her hopes. One evening, Soo-jin said, "Dad, you seem happier." "I am," Jinwoo admitted. "I did not realize how tired I was before. How stressed. Now I sleep better. I have energy. I feel like I can breathe." "I am glad," Soo-jin said. "You deserve to be happy." Then she added, "Can I tell you something?" "Always," Jinwoo said. "I was going to drop out of school," she said quietly. "Before you met Minho. Before this job. I was going to drop out and not tell you. Just say I wanted a break. But really, I was going to work full-time to help you. I could not watch you work yourself to death for me anymore." Jinwoo felt his chest tighten. "Soo-jin, but you helped that little boy," she continued. "And somehow it changed everything. For all of us. It is like one moment of kindness created ripples that spread out and touched so many lives." She was right, Jinwoo realized. That one decision to help Minho had changed multiple lives. Not just Minho's, not just his own, but Daesung's, Soo-jin's. Even Ms. Lee, who told Jinwoo she had never seen the Kang family so happy. About 4 months after starting his new job, Jinwoo received an invitation. The Spring Festival was coming again, 1 year since that rainy parade. The Kang family wanted to go to the parade together, and they wanted Jinwoo and Soo-jin to come with them. "You are family now," Daesung said when he extended the invitation. "We want you there." The day of the parade was sunny and warm. No rain clouds this time. The 6 of them went together. Daesung, his wife Ji-hai, whom Jinwoo had come to know well, Minho, Ms. Lee, Jinwoo, and Soo-jin. They arrived early and got a good spot near the front. But this time no one had to carry Minho through a crowd. They had planned ahead. They had reserved space. Everything was easy and comfortable. But then, about 10 minutes before the parade started, dark clouds appeared. The weather forecast had been wrong. It was going to rain after all. People around them started to panic. They pulled out umbrellas. Some began to leave, looking for shelter. Minho looked up at the sky with worry. "It is going to rain again," he said. "Like last time." Daesung looked at the clouds. Then he looked at his son. Then he made a decision. "Jinwoo," he said. "Can I ask you for help with something?" "Of course," Jinwoo said. "Will you help me carry my son?" Daesung asked. "I want to do it this time. I want to carry him. But I am not sure I am strong enough to do it alone for the whole parade." Jinwoo understood immediately. This was not about being too weak physically. This was about Daesung wanting to be the father Minho deserved. Wanting to be the one who carried his son this time. "I will be right here," Jinwoo said. "But you should carry him. You are his father. He should be on your shoulders." Daesung's eyes got wet with emotion. "Thank you." He knelt down in front of Minho's wheelchair. "Minho," he said, "would you like to ride on my shoulders today? Like Mr. Jinwoo carried you last year?" Minho's face showed pure surprise. Then pure joy. "Really, Dad? You will carry me?" "Really," Daesung said. "I should have done it last year. I should have been here. But I am here now, and I am not going anywhere." With Jinwoo's help, they got Minho positioned on Daesung's shoulders. The boy was light, but Jinwoo could see the strain on Daesung's face. This was not a man used to physical labor. The first drops of rain began to fall just as the parade started. People around them scattered again, just like last year. But the Kang family stayed. Ji-hai held an umbrella over Daesung and Minho. Ms. Lee held one over herself and Soo-jin. Jinwoo just stood in the rain, smiling. The parade began. Music and dancers and colorful floats just like last year. But everything was different because Daesung was there. The father was present. The family was together. Minho was laughing and pointing and waving his flag. The same flag from last year that Ms. Lee had saved. But this time he was on his father's shoulders. This time his father was the hero. Jinwoo watched Daesung's face. The man was struggling. His legs were shaking. His back was probably screaming in pain. Sweat mixed with rain on his face. But he did not put Minho down. He did not give up. He stood there for the entire 40-minute parade, carrying his son, being present, keeping his promise. When the parade ended, Dae-sung carefully lowered Min-ho back into the wheelchair with Jin-woo's help. The moment Min-ho was safely seated, Dae-sung's legs gave out. He sat down hard on the wet ground, but he was smiling. And crying. Happy tears mixed with rain on his face. Min-ho wheeled his chair close and hugged his father. "Thank you, Daddy. That was the best parade ever." "Better than last year?" Dae-sung asked. "Last year was amazing," Min-ho said. "Mr. Jin-woo was my hero. But this year was better because you were here. You carried me. You kept your promise." Dae-sung pulled his son close and held him tight. He was crying openly now, not caring who saw. Ji-hee was crying too. So was Ms. Lee. Even Soo-jin had tears in her eyes. Jin-woo helped Dae-sung stand up. The two men looked at each other, and no words were needed. They understood each other perfectly. Later that evening, both families gathered at the Kang mansion. It was not formal or fancy. Just two families sharing a meal together. Ms. Lee was there too. She had become part of their extended family. Min-ho and Soo-jin sat together. She was helping him with a puzzle. They had become friends over the past months. Soo-jin volunteered to tutor Min-ho twice a week. She said it helped her understand her own studies better. But Jin-woo knew she just enjoyed spending time with the boy. "He reminds me of what really matters," Soo-jin had told her father once. "When I am stressed about grades or worried about the future, Min-ho reminds me to be grateful for what I have, to focus on today, to find joy in small things." As Jin-woo watched the two of them together, he thought about how much had changed in 1 year. Dae-sung came and stood next to Jin-woo. "I have something to tell you," he said. "What is that?" Jin-woo asked. "I am starting a foundation," Dae-sung said, "to help families who have children with disabilities. Equipment, therapy, respite care, family activities, all the things families need but cannot afford." "That is wonderful," Jin-woo said. "I want to call it the Jin-woo Initiative," Dae-sung said. Jin-woo shook his head immediately. "No, that is not right. I do not need my name on anything." "But you inspired it," Dae-sung insisted. "What you did for Min-ho inspired me to help other families. Your name should be on it." "My name is just 2 words," Jin-woo said. "What matters is the work. The families you will help. Call it the Min-ho Foundation, or the Second Chance Foundation, or anything else. But not my name. I do not need recognition," Dae-sung smiled. "You are the only person I know who would refuse to have their name on a foundation." "I am not the only person who matters here," Jin-woo said. "This is about all of us. About family. About showing up. About keeping promises. About being present. Those are the things that matter." They stood together watching their families interact. Min-ho was laughing at something Soo-jin said. Ji-hee was talking with Ms. Lee. Everyone was happy. Everyone was present. Everyone was together. "I was thinking," Dae-sung said quietly, "about that day at the parade last year. If it had not rained, would you still have helped Min-ho?" "Yes," Jin-woo said without hesitation. "Rain or sun, I would have helped him." "Why?" Dae-sung asked. "What made you see him when everyone else looked away?" Jin-woo thought about it. "Because I saw myself in him. Not the disability, but the disappointment, the broken promise, the dream that seemed impossible. I have felt that way many times in my life. When my wife was dying and I could not save her. When bills came that I could not pay. When my daughter cried because I had to miss her school event. I know what it feels like when the world lets you down. So when I saw Min-ho facing that same feeling, I could not walk away. I had to help. Not because I am special or good, but because I understood his pain." Dae-sung nodded slowly. "You taught me something important," he said. "You taught me that success is not about money or power or achievement. Real success is measured in relationships, in moments, in memories, in love. I was chasing the wrong things. Building the wrong kind of legacy. You are building the right legacy now," Jin-woo said. "Every day you show up for Min-ho, you are building something that will last. Something that matters. Something money cannot buy." 2 years after that first parade, Jin-woo and Dae-sung stood together again. But this time, they were on the rooftop of Kang Industries. It was Min-ho's 10th birthday. A small celebration with just family and close friends. Min-ho had improved so much in 2 years. He could walk short distances with his walker now. His speech was clearer. His confidence was stronger. But more than physical improvements, he was happy. Really deeply happy. Soo-jin had graduated from university with honors. She had decided to become a special education teacher, inspired by Min-ho. She was starting her first job in the fall at a school for children with disabilities. Ms. Lee had retired but still visited often. She said she could not stay away from her boy. Ji-hai had become friends with Soo-jin and often invited her to family events. The foundation Dae-sung started was thriving. It had helped hundreds of families already. But more than any of these external changes, what mattered most was the internal changes. The relationships, the bonds, the family they had all created together. Do you ever think about that day? Dae-sung asked Jin-woo as they watched the city lights below. Often, Jin-woo admitted. If you could go back and change anything, would you? Dae-sung asked. Jin-woo thought about it. He thought about the rain and the aching back and the financial struggles that existed before everything changed. No, he said finally. I would not change anything. Every moment led us here. To this family. To these relationships. To this life. It was all necessary. Minho wheeled over to them. Mr. Jin-woo, Dad? Come back inside. We are going to cut the cake. The boy could have called just one of them, but he called both. Because to Minho they were both his fathers in different ways, one by birth, one by choice. But both equally important. Jin-woo and Dae-sung followed Minho back inside. The whole family gathered around a table. Candles were lit. Everyone sang happy birthday. Minho closed his eyes to make a wish. Jin-woo wondered what the boy was wishing for. More time with his father? Better health? More friends? After Minho blew out the candles, Soo-jin asked, What did you wish for? I cannot tell you or it will not come true, Minho said with a smile. But I can tell you that most of my wishes already came true. I have my family. All of my family. He looked at Jin-woo and Soo-jin when he said that last part. Later, as Jin-woo drove home with Soo-jin, she said, Dad, do you remember when you carried Minho in the rain? Of course, Jin-woo said. Did you know then that it would lead to all of this? She asked. Jin-woo smiled. No, I just knew a little boy needed help. I could not see the future. I could only see that moment. That is the thing about kindness. You never know where it will lead. You just do what feels right and trust that it matters. It mattered, Soo-jin said softly. It changed everything. For all of us, she was right. One moment, one choice, one act of simple human kindness. It had created ripples that spread out and touched multiple lives in ways Jin-woo could never have predicted. He had carried a boy through the rain to see a parade. But really, that boy had carried him toward something greater. Toward purpose, toward family, toward understanding what truly mattered in life. As Jin-woo pulled up to their apartment building, he noticed something. This building that had once felt like a symbol of his poverty, now felt like home. Because home was not about how fancy or expensive a place was. Home was about who was there, who you loved, who loved you back. I am proud of you, Dad, Soo-jin said as they walked up the stairs together. For everything. I am proud of you too, Jin-woo said. Your mother would be so proud of the woman you have become. Inside their small apartment, Jin-woo looked at the photograph on his dashboard that he had brought inside. The picture of him with his wife and young Soo-jin. They were all smiling. He thought about his wife and what she would think of his life now. He thought she would approve. He thought she would be happy that he had learned to value presence over presents. Time over money. Relationships over achievements. He thought about Minho and Dae-sung and how their lives had intertwined with his. He thought about that rainy day 1 year ago when he made a choice to help a child see a parade, and Jin-woo smiled, because he understood now what his wife had tried to teach him all along. Life was not about the big moments. Not really. Life was about the small choices, the daily acts of kindness, the decision to show up, the choice to care, the commitment to be present. Life was about carrying each other through the rain, about being there when someone needed you, about seeing people, really seeing them instead of looking past them. Life was about love, simple, honest, present love, and Jin-woo had finally learned how to live that kind of life. Outside his window, the city continued its endless motion. Millions of people living their lives. Some happy, some struggling, some lost, some found, but Jin-woo was at peace. He had found his purpose, not in success or wealth or recognition, but in relationships, in family, in love. He had carried a boy through the rain, and in doing so he had found his way home.